Hey everyone, welcome back to my third tutorial. Today we're going to be looking at a little bit of high-rise building, and it does align with the large building code 2012. First of all, you might say, boy, why am I looking at high building? But for the sake of the exam, these questions does come. So try to keep the knowledge behind your head a little bit, and understand these answers because you never know what comes in the exam. So let's look at question 80. But before we even jump into question 80, I would advise you to take some time and read through 3.2.6. Let's just hop right into this. So 3.2.6, I'll show you why you would need this in a few. So in a multi-story on sprinkler office building having a top story 82 meter above grid, what have we just graphed from that question? So it's a multi-story on sprinklered building. It's 82 meter above grid. It tells you the height of the building. So when you look at 82 meter, what comes to your head? Well, what comes to mind basically is if I go through this here and I look at A, D, E, and F, and a building that is more than 36 meter height is considered above the grid, is considered a high building. Now, let's keep going. An elevator provided for the use of a firefighter and serving all stories above grid shall be provided with an automatic emergency recall. Good question. Where do we find the answer? Finding the answer to this question, since it's considered a high building, the answer is basically split. Number one, if you do read through 3.2.6.4, it does say manual emergency recall shall be provided for all areas serving stories above the first stories. Number two, key operated switch for emergency recall provided at sentence 1 shall be provided for a location at each elevator lobbies or recall level and central alarm. Or number 3, in car emergency service switch shall be provided for all elevators. Does that sound familiar in our question? Emergency in car emergency service switch. So we exclude this, we exclude this, we exclude C. Interlocking door with a mechanism rated for 1 hour. Well, we do know that in a high-rise building, since it's unsprinklered, then you need to have your shaft needs to be fire separated. And if you're going to have an opening in your shaft, then you're going to need to fire rate your door. So what do you think will be the fire rate of that door? It's 1 hour. In order to get that answer now, you're going to have to look at 3.2.6.5. It's kind of a little tricky in this question. Be provided with a closure. 3. Be provided with a closure shaft opening. Interlocking mechanism, mechanism remains mechanically engaged with electrical continuity is maintained in the interlocking circuits and associated wire period of no less than 1 hour. Even if you do read through the sections, you will get a few other information about the fire separation and so forth. So the answer to this question is D. Question 81. A fourth story, which is also at the top story of an office, contains patient bedrooms. The building is 90 meter high. Measure between grid and the underside of the roof assembly. Now 90 meter height. Just tell me it's a high building. How did I analyze that? If you do look at 3.2.6.1, if you do look at 1A to I, 18 meter high, measure between grid and the floor level of the top story sorry, that is wrong. Let's go B. Contain a group B meter occupancy in which the floor level of the highest story of meter occupancy is more than 80 meter above grade. Group B. Hospital is group B. So then group B, division 2. This does refer to each other. I'm not going to read it through. Hospital is group B, division 2. It's more than 80 meter, so it is definitely considered high-rise building. Where do we get the answer for that question? The answer for that question is, if we do look at emergency 3.2.7.4, it says 2 meter, 2 hours for a building within the scope of 3.2.6. So once a building is considered a high building, then the hour emergency power for that building shall be 2 hours. If it's not within the scope of 3.2.6, then it's 1 hour. But since that one is in 3.2.6, then it's 2 hours of full load operation. Now, which of the following duct lining is not be permitted in a building required to be of non-combustible construction? In order for us to get there, we're gonna just hop right into this section here. So, whoa, I think I just missed something here. Let's just go into 3 point. Duct piping. Closure. Just gonna pull it up in my book for 1 second. I am a little bit more feasible with the book itself. So that's 3.1.13.7. 3.1.13.7. Yes, it's a high building. So it comes on the maximum smoke development classification. How did we determine that for a second? So lining having a flame spread rating of 25, no. Combustible lining have a flame spread of 25. Sometimes when they do these 25, sometimes you have to look for something that is not within that section. So once you're dealing with duct lining, and then you're looking at non-combustible construction, duct lining is kind of like flame spread rating. The keywords to the answer is here, flame spread rating. So how do you find flame spread rating? You will then look at, these are all, if you do go into 3.1.30.7, 3.1.30.7 here, flame spread rating, if you go into what we call service space and service room, because ducts are found in service spaces and service room, flame spread rating is good. But if you do look at the smoke development classification, it's 50. What is it that it has there? So duct lining having a smoke development classification of 75. The answer to that question is C. Remember, not to be permitted. Now, I'm just gonna skip these parts for now. I'm gonna jump into the second section. And it'll be a little bit of plumbing, the topic is, but this question does come. So non-combustible pipes that penetrate a firewall that separates building of assembly occupancy shall, what do you think would be the answer? The answer to that question is located in, so fire stopping, 3.1.9.1. And it says that, let's see which article it says that. Here, penetration of a firewall of a horizontal fire separation is required. Fire resistant rating shall be sealed at the penetration of the fire stop. That when subject to testing must be CANULCS11, but it must seal at fire stopping. So the answer to that question is right back there. It's to be sealed at the penetration by a fire stop system. That's it. For the purpose of determining the number for required plumbing fixture in business and personal service occupancy, the occupancy load can be based on a floor per person of, when we do look at plumbing fixture in business and personal service occupancy, number one, keywords are plumbing, then it's business and person. But this said, they did not give us the occupancy load. They tell us how much area do you think one person will take up. Because remember, number of washrooms will be based on the area of the building. So if it's a small building, less washroom. A big building or large building, more washrooms. And that is also based on the type of occupancy and occupancy load. And there we go from there. A little bit more complicated. But to keep everything simple, how do we determine this? You might want to go look at, everybody wants to go jumping into the part that would say 3.1.17, if I'm correct, but that's just wrong. You need to go to the 3 point, sorry, not there. Just get that up here. Yes, so here it goes. Don't go looking at 3.7.4.7. It is plumbing, but when you have an occupancy already, occupancy load. So if you have 10 people, it's not, the answer is not there, but a meter for that. Because we're dealing with area, the answer for that question is, let's see, I think it's somewhere around here. So, except that a group D occupancy area per person shall be 40 meters square. So in 3.1.17 of the building code does not tell you, it just deals with area of a building. But when it comes to plumbing facility for that building, then 14 meters square, one person takes up when it comes to calculating the plumbing facility. I feel it's like double or something like that. So the answer to that question is 40 meter square. Now in a barrier 93, in a barrier-free washroom where a toilet dispenser is provided, at what minimum height must the dispenser be installed? No less than, let's see where we can go find that answer. So if you do look at 3.8.3.11 lavatories, you would look at a dispenser height at 3. A dispenser height is no less than 900 meter and no more than 120 millimeter, 900 millimeter, and no more than 120 millimeter above the finished floor. So let's jump back into our question. What is the minimum, keyword, minimum height of the dispenser? It's 900 millimeter above floor. The answer is A. Thank you for watching.